Hi, John here. Today, Thursday the 23rd of April 2015. Just calling the police station, Auckland Central Police Station, to ask whereabouts of Sergeant Dennis Colverwell. Here goes. Dan Forrest, young guy.
Good afternoon, Auckland Police. You're speaking with Amy.
Amy, could I speak to Dan Forrest, please?
Just one moment.
Thank you.
Would you know what to do if you observe someone behaving suspiciously in your neighbourhood? To ensure the safety of all members of your community, join or establish a neighbourhood support group today. Visit www.neighbourhoodsupport.co.nz or call 0800 4NEIGHBOURS. That's 0800 463 444 for details. Through better communication and cooperation with your neighbours, you can make your community a safer and more enjoyable environment in which to live. Please hold the line. A member of our team will be with you shortly.
This girl, Ludlow. No.
The faster you go, the bigger the mess.
Girl, not girl, Ludlow.
New Zealanders die needlessly on our roads due to excessive speed. Please keep your speed down and remember this winter to drive in accordance with weather conditions.
Carol Hirschfeld. That's my barrister sister.
Avoid a
Charles
$150
Hirschfeld.
fine per offence. Save your life and the lives of your passengers.
While I'm waiting,
That everyone
I'm
traveling
just
in vehicles
putting the complaint in
appropriately restrained.
again
Thank you for your patience. We are working to
for
answer your call.
Dennis Colverwell.
To legally use a firearm, you must ensure your New Zealand firearms license is
So
current. Please check the expiry date on your license.
I'll
and
read it out
if
afterwards.
necessary. Alternatively, you can surrender your license at any time prior.
Try and shorten it up. Hello?
Hello, Dan speaking.
Dan, it's John Wanoa speaking. John Wanoa?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I was waiting for you to give me a call to see who was going to talk to me. I think Sergeant Dennis Colverwell will be back on Monday, I guess. He's had his week annual leave.
Yeah, I think he's back on Tuesday, actually, not Monday.
Tuesday, eh?
Apparently, yeah.
Oh, okay, well, I'll just wait till Tuesday and come in and see him.
No worries.
That's all right, eh? I'll catch up.
Yeah.
I'll catch up with him. I think that's best than me to try and talk to someone else.
Yep, no
Yeah.
worries.
Okay, Dan.
Okay, bye-bye.
Cheers, mate. Bye. There you go. That's Dan Forrest. So he's aware now. I'll just turn up to see Sergeant Dennis Colverwell. I'm just going to read you some of the complaint I'm putting together back into the New Zealand Police Conduct Association. I mean, that's where complaints are made. But this is very serious, a very serious case of what I'm doing in my complaint. Now that the other, I'm talking about 1/61 Cook Street. We haven't finished with that yet. And so we're going to, I'll take this off. We're going to continue with it because it's still unresolved. Because in the silence and no response, it's not an excuse for the cover-up of the fraud inside that land block. So I want Dennis to reconsider what Tim Duthie has said, Sergeant Tim Duthie has said, and nothing in writing as evidence in any court won't stack up to what has happened there. There's some cover-up in what he did to stop me seizing the property with my lawyer, Yu Tai Choi, and he's a conveyancing lawyer and also a notary public to see. So he's very well aware of this fraud as being a big fraud, the way he put it, if you only hear what he said. And also Gray Mallet, the private investigator, that both of them have got my details of the whole 6 years of this case that's not going away in a hurry. So Graham is ex-Scotland Yard detective, and so between those two, they are the tops, with Hickson's lawyers, Australia and Pacific Islands international contract lawyers who are there on the side for me and our business. So I'm only doing their job because without me they can't do it, and I can do so much so far, and then they'll step in. As soon as I go into the office to seize it, hopefully on Tuesday when I go and see Sergeant Dennis Colverwell, he would have ascertained the whole situation while he's been away on his annual leave. So I thought rather than go and see someone else, I'll wait for him to come back, because I've gone through too many police to be bounced around the place over the 6 years and 3 months, 4 months now. And I just keep writing stuff out for each one, the same things again, and even the police commissioner. He's in doubt now with his background repute as incompetent with a rape case that he's involved with. So we've got a number of issues outlining why the police are in bad conduct, and my complaint is really shortened down to Sergeant Tim Duthie made an error of judgment. He's made an error of judgment not to investigate the complaint, whatever that was, because I never got it in writing. I never got told what the complaint is, and the seriousness of tampering with evidence that I've had for 6 years mounted up with the lawyer and the private investigator. So they're only new on the scene of not being a lawyer or a private investigator, for that matter, to do a case of this depth of history and real title, in British title terms, the Admiralty, where it came from in the first place, of these lands. Okay, so I'll just read a piece of what the complaint is about. Right, it says who was involved. So I'll say, please provide the names of the police staff you wish to complain about. If you do not know the names, please provide any other identifying details such as rank, badge number, and or description of the officer. First, Sergeant Tim Duthie, Auckland Central Police Station, gave me his name, no problems. But he said the two motorbike officers on patrol, I guess they were constables, assisted him, did not give their names when I asked for them. You can hear clearly in that Sergeant Tim Duthie on my video recording speaking. He overrode their decisions to give their names because Tim said to them, I do not need them. There were three white Caucasian men who posed for my camera in a video when I pulled it out of my bag, still rolling the film. Then at about 4 p.m, the other man is my nephew, Robert Wanoa, who was with me as my assistant. So any other related matters he had with the police are nothing to do with what happened here. Right, if possible, please provide the names and contact details of any other people who may be able to help the authority to resolve your complaint. This may include witnesses or other people involved in the incident. First of all, it was my nephew, Robert Wanoa. That's my witness. And just as well, I had my own witness. The only other people were in the office of Tournament Parking Limited, manager Debbie. That's all I knew her by, Debbie, and other staff members. She and another man are now third parties in my commercial contract, private contract, with James Brown and Sam Roundtree, owners of that business, and Lynn's registered landowners title, who were not present on the scene. So Debbie and the other man is a third party with Sergeant Tim Duthie now, and the two bike police constables who attended are on camera as my evidence to who interfered and tampered with my evidence. It's substantial evidence in this court case that I have already lodged in the High Court of Admiralty in London, so no other court can interfere with that complaint on that title back in 2012. Okay, this is a private commercial levy debtors contract defaulted between me, my corporate and private companies, and James Pierce Brown and Simon Brent Roundtree's owners of their corporate companies. So it's corporate against corporate, nothing but nobody else. It's a private matter between us and them. Owners of these corporate companies, theirs. It is a fraud, a corporate fraud matter they don't understand, but their lawyer is silent, has lost the case. So their lawyers should have been in front of me to write to me to back off. They didn't. They went and got the police to do it. You see, so they set the police up. That's what I'm saying here as a addition to others who are in this, as the cause of the landowners to engage other people in the contract, which is the offence, and then the lawyers who would not respond to any of my claims with their counterclaim. So that's wrapped that part of the question up, of others involved. They're all involved. Now the police is involved with this defaulted contract, private contract. What happened? Please tell us about the police actions you want to complain about. My complaint is about Sergeant Tim Duthie of Auckland Central Police Station telling me to get off the land, 1/61 Cook Street, Auckland, because he was there in answer to a complaint made by someone on that property to him, being public, not the owners, a public. Okay, it could be anybody in the building. I accused Tim Duthie of conspiring with the landowners and their land conveyancing lawyers to block me off from legally seizing the property. Management office on this land I already seized on the 12th of March 2015. Third and last warning affidavits. Notice of my claim, title, seizure reported to the Police Central Station and Tony Geldenhuis. So Tony Geldenhuis has all my written intentions of doing my job for my lawyers and my private investigator. I'm doing as much as I can, then they'll just jump in and finish it off. And you'll discover that what happened is that the fraud, I'm doing as much as I can of what happened with me. And then the lawyers will come in and finish off what they had committed themselves into, the fraud. The police had committed themselves into the fraud. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Tim Duthie, unawares that he was going into a serious position outside his legal jurisdiction. Okay, outside his legal jurisdiction, it's a lawyer's matter. It's not for him to decide on a complaint. I'm acting legally with my private investigator Graham Ellett, ex-Scotland Yard detective, and my QC conveyancing lawyer Yu Tai Choi, who are taking over from me after I seize the buildings as a consequence of the debts owed, overdue, defaulted contract, private. That's normal law practice for me to be a debt collector, to go there and seize the property in lieu of the private investigator, and the lawyer can do the same thing too, because they told me they can seize it. I am proficient in why no lawyers will challenge me, cannot do so of my historic native custom land patent owner with the British UK Deeds 339 titles. What I'm just saying there is I'm proficient in my job of what I do professionally with the lawyers and the private investigator. Okay. I told Auckland Central Police Station Sergeant Dennis Colverwell I'm going onto the land to seize it that day, 31st of March 2015. I left instructions of my written intentions with the customer service manager, Tony Geldenhuis, who is away for 2 weeks then. On the 30th of March 2015, there were no complaints from 1 bar 61 Cook Street property about me being there, only when Debbie said to me, the police said to leave on that day, 30th. So I cited her and that policeman who said to leave. I said she is not the landowner while I am in a contract with him and not her. And I'm here with police notifications to do my job. She interfered with my defaulted contract, which pulled her and that policeman into the contract with me and the other man with her in the office. My witness was Robert Wanoa, who saw all that happen. He interfered too. That's the other man that was there with her. They are not lawyers to confront me with Admiralty court-martial law that private investigators use to seize property. I am doing my private investigator's job, which is to salvage property to pay outstanding debts, not a police matter to get mixed up in. Tim Duthie police conduct is out of order and no complaints are legal, while I have a property arrest authority to seize the land against the fraud land title no one is owning up to. So the law is in my favour, not theirs. If you are a lawyer. I left him the latest new information, that's Tony Geldenhuis, of my circumstances today on that day, 31st of March 2015, handed over the counter for Tony Geldenhuis. I then asked to see a senior officer. That's when Sergeant Dennis Colverwell, custody of impounds, came to see me at the front desk. Told him I intend doing as I always do with Tony Geldenhuis before going onto the land block and seize it as a debt collector. This gave me and my lawyer's private investigator legitimacy to go onto the land and seize the office and buildings under Dennis' verbal authority. Go ahead, but don't break the law. I'm quoting what he said. I did not break the law, as Dennis said not to do. Tim Duthie broke the law. Tim Duthie broke the land conveyancing defaulted private contract Admiralty law, which is Admiralty law mortgage fraud committed by Tim Duthie, the landowners and the lawyers who are legally trapped in it and cannot get out of this contract. And so now the police are locked in this private contract as a third party to me, and the landowners levy debtors. I know from my own lawyers what I am doing. Sergeant Tim Duthie is unaware of how serious this offence is, that he doesn't know this Admiralty mortgage law of contracts overrides a public complaint law inside the commercial contract for the unwary complainants cost them now as well. The complaint came from the public and not the landowners to the police, who is now the consequence of a bill debtors levy. They can't escape under Admiralty court-martial law of King William IV jurisdiction while we hold his title here over these lands. It is a conveyancing lawyer's decision to make, not a policeman, about private contracts between one person and another. The police cannot interfere even from a public complaint is out of order, not properly conducted. The complaint issue does not come into this contract. It is none of the police business to interfere. They already knew I was going to seize the land on the 12th of March 2015, followed by identifying who is managing the land on the 30th, when I went inside the complex to inquire. I had been filming the property inside the grounds from the 12th to the 30th as a legally seized land, and taken the names of the businesses as is required under survey of our land to see what it is now and identifying the boundaries and what businesses they are operating. There was no complaint or incident during this period of time. I knew I was there for a legal reason, and the owners knew I was on the land by myself until the 31st, when I went to see the office with Robert Wanoa. I explained to Sergeant Dennis Colverwell on the 31st of March 2015 that I'm going about my business to seize 1/61 Cook Street property, and he said, "That's not a problem. Go ahead, so long as you don't break the law." So I wrote out another message to the duty officer at the front desk before leaving for Cook Street, and put the updated new information to Tony Goldeneyes in an envelope that I am going ahead to seize the property management office today on the 31st of March 2015. I asked the office staff member and Sergeant Dennis Colverwell if there was any complaints from 1/61 Cook Street on the 30th of March 2015 when I went to the office of the landowner's business, Tournament Parking Limited. There was none. There was no complaints. When I asked the girl, Debbie, and her staff to leave, as I am the new chief landowners and they must go, I said to her not to talk to me, as she would be cited as a third party to our defaulted commercial contract with the landowners. Well, she or someone called the police, and then she opened her mouth and said this, quote, "The police said for you to leave," unquote. I then said to her that she is now a third party with that policeman on the end of that line to this fraud mortgage land defaulted contract. See? That's what I'm saying. I'm making this statement publicly on the video before I go and see Dennis Colverwell on Tuesday when he's back. That's what Dan Forrest just said at the police station when I rang up. That was about 1:30. It's now 1:49 p.m. on Thursday, the 23rd of April 2015. Right. What happened? Between me and our chief's corporate and private companies gets the levy debtor's bill on her own property, now I'm talking about Debbie, for interfering with my defaulted private contract. I cited her, then said I will be back, and then left it there till I go back and check the Auckland Central Police Station. Was there any complaint from 1/61 Cook Street? There was nothing. As I was told, quote, "No complaints came, is as if it was about me." Then the service manager, Tony Goldeneyes, that's Jamie, is your contact about what you are doing on Cook Street, unquote. After clearing with Sergeant Dennis Colverwell on the 31st of March 2015, I passed my latest information of my movements this day over the counter, and then went to seize the 1/61 Cook Street property ahead of my private investigator Graham Allett and conveyancing lawyers Yu Tai Choi to finish off the rest of the King's Bench property arrest to defray the debts owed against the fraud mortgage land deal that no one is owning up to, which makes my title absolute as not legally challenged. The matter was closed on the 12th of March 2015. So no one can override this claim from that date. Not even a police complaint has any jurisdiction to pass judgment over a defaulted private contract between two parties notified. Supporting information. So then it's just the supporting information, that the videos and everything that I'm putting together, and that's the end of the complaint. Okay, so thank you very much. I will make this video this short, and we'll catch up with you again on progress, and I'll put this on Facebook and YouTube, the complaint. Okay, thank you very much, John Wanoa, Auckland, Auckland, New Zealand. To my supporters, thank you very much for watching the videos and commenting. Bye for now. That's Jamie. She's coming up tomorrow. So I better get off the line. Bye. See ya.